Testing. Hello? 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 Testing. Hello? 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 Testing. Bah. Hello? 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 Bah. Bah. Hello? This is me making, this is the sound effects portion of the program. Hello? 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 Testing. Hello? 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 Testing. Hello? 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 Got a show going on today, everybody. This is the Above It All program, starring this coffee cup and myself. I've also got an opened can of seltzer here, as you can see. It's open. It is a can, 12 ounces of seltzer. Hello? So anyway, we got a program here. This is the Above It All program. I'm here once again to do a program. This is what I do. I do programs. I program the program, and then the program, and then the show, and this. Hello? There's a goddamn Max dog right here. Holy shit. Hi, Max. Hi. Do I improvise all of this? I never do a show with a script. I have no notes. The only thing I go into the show with is like tabs of news stories, and I pick them based on my mood. It's always improv. I never script anything. I'm not like some of those other streamers. You know, those other streamers that are like, yes, let me check the script before, yes, oh, no, oh, no, I forgot an and in my, you know, like, I'm not like those people. I'm not like those, you know, other streamers. No. No. I'm not like those other streamers. Farminostophilos Stufla, motherfucker. I covered that shit yesterday. It's old news. Old news. Daily Wire's latest film, box office opening weekend of $800. That's not bad. This all sounds scripted to me. It's all part of the plan! That's why I script in the script, making fun of people who use scripts, so that I can, as a prop, grab my script and then secretly look at the script. You know, this old trick, you know, the people do that in the movie biz, you know, is they'll come up with a reason to have the script in their hands, you know, as part of the character. That's me. So, that's what I'm doing. We got a show going on today. Today is the program. We're going to be talking about cops on today's show. We're going to be talking about food on today's show. You know, I did a survey, you know. In fact, I'll save that for later. Let's talk about some cops. We all love cops. This is a pro-cop show. I'm in favor of cops. Police. Troopers. Thugs. Whatever you want to call them. I love licking those boots. But boot licking has really taken on an entirely new meaning as of this recent news story. Tennessee cops, including married female officer, fired after repeated wild sex romps. Let's check this out. This is from the New York Post, everybody. A small Tennessee police station has been rocked by allegations of wild sexual misconduct after a married female officer allegedly had steamy romps with 6 male officers, including illicit on-duty liaisons, according to reports. Officer Megan Hall and her fellow law officers allegedly engaged in wild sexcapades that included sending dirty pictures, taking her top off at a Girls Gone Wild hot tub party, and even having oral sex with 2 officers at the La Vergne 10 police station, WTVF-TV reported. The steamy shenanigans, in which Hall allegedly bragged about the size of one partner's genitals and claimed to be in an open marriage, not only led Hall to be canned, but led to the firings of Sergeant Lewis Powell. Talk about defund the police. I mean, one really eccentric woman goes in there, whole police station gone. Talk about defund. They abolished that police station pretty quickly. So if anyone, here's a question. If anyone wants to, here's an idea even, get rid of some cops. If you're a woman and you want to take one for the team, sign up, be a cop, have some gangbangs, and then boom, bye-bye police. The firings of Sergeant Lewis Powell, Officer Juan Lugo, Sergeant Ty McGowan, and Detective Seneca Shields, according to a December internal investigation. That's some high-ranking officers shit canned. 2 other officers who allegedly had romps with Hall, Patrick Magalocco and Larry Holiday, kept their jobs but wound up suspended, according to the reports. So here we have some photos. Now, I don't know if this was before or after the gangbang, but maybe we'll find out. Officer Megan Hall, seen being sworn in to the La Vergne Police Department in 2021, was fired after an investigation revealed she had sex on duty with other officers. The extracurricular trysts that took place at hotels and parties, at other officers' houses, and on a boat. Now, keep in mind, this is in Tennessee. Where the fuck are these boats? I mean, I don't know. While Hall was also accused of performing oral sex on Powell and Shields while on duty at the police station and police gym, according to December 28 internal report. Officials began to look into the swinging personal lives of the amorous officers when La Vergne Mayor Jason Cole received a tip that Hall was sleeping with several fellow cops and had a threesome with Magalocco and his wife, among other claims. When asked about the tip, Magalocco admitted to having sex with Hall on numerous occasions. Damn. He told investigators that Hall had told him about Powell's... I can't even... He told investigators that Hall had told him about Powell's, quote, I'm not saying this, it's in the article, big black dick, and claimed she had performed a sex act on him while the pair were on the clock. Magalocco also said he had seen Hall and Holiday kiss while watching football at a party, and said Hall had kissed his own wife Amy after learning they had an open marriage, according to the document. The officer said Hall's husband saw the kiss and told officials that cuckold really wasn't on board with his wife having a threesome with the Magalocos. But she continued having a relationship with him, investigators said. So here's a photo of Seneca Shields, who does not have a big black dick, apparently, actually. Is this the guy with the big black? Yep, this is the guy with the big black dick. I'm just saying. I didn't say it, actually. I'm not saying anything. I'm just reading an article here. When questioned, Powell later denied that he had a sexual encounter with Hall, but said, everybody knows she has multiple partners. Hey, that's just common knowledge. They all know that. After being caught lying about being at the gym with Hall, Powell admitted to the tryst during a follow-up interview, according to the report. Powell was then involved in a domestic disturbance with his wife, who he told investigators beat the shit out of him. Whoa, what the fuck? Whoa! So he got the shit beaten out of him. That's crazy. Adding that he would most likely lose his children after the spurned woman learned of the affair. So once again, big black dick. Hey, I didn't say it, okay? I didn't say anything. Holiday admitted under questioning to having sex with Hall multiple times. And McGowan revealed that he once went to Hall's house with another female and exposed his genitals, according to the graphic report. After initially denying having sexual relationships with Powell and Magaloco, Hall later copped, get it, to the affair, and also admitted having sex with Lugo at a motel after they met at a go-kart center. Yo, this bitch single-handedly took down an entire police department nearly. I'm just saying, like, we want to talk about brave officers. We want to talk about supporting the thin blue line. More like supporting the thin or the thick blue line. Am I right, people? I mean, again, how many people can say that they got dozens of officers fired? Motherfuckers can shoot and kill people and not get dozens of officers fired. This bitch has a gangbang and boom, officer down. You know what I'm saying? Holy shit, man. Under questioning, Shield said, I have never had sex with Megan Hall until admitting she had performed oral sex on him while on duty. When pressed, the inquest found. Gives a whole new meaning to pressed. Look at this bitch eating food with her hands, by the way. Like, look at this fucking uncivilized. There's a fork right there, bitch. Jesus. Magaloco also noted he had become concerned about Hall's mental health and heavy drinking and driving. The officer said Hall had once pulled the trigger on an empty gun pointed at her temple so she could hear what it sounded like. Yo, this bitch is just like me. Holy fuck. And said she was suffering from mental illness. An oft-mentioned event in the report was a Memorial Day party in a boathouse owned by another member of the department, to which several officers had brought their children. At one point during the party, an intoxicated Hall was reportedly being force-fed vodka by Magaloco in the hot tub, at which time her top came off. And other cops stopped the former officer from drinking and helped her cover up, quote, to protect her. Lugo, Powell, and Shields were also dismissed for violating police procedure and lying during the investigation. Oh, wow, cops lie. Who'd have thought? Holy shit, cops are lying? To other cops? Whoa. Along with McGowan, who had been witnessed choking an HR employee. What? That's like, that should be the headline. Now, is this a sex act? Or is this motherfucker trying to kill someone? Now, hey, I'm a huge fan of choking. Little known fact. So if that's what they're doing to get their rocks off, I'm in full support. That said, what the fuck? I hope it was consensual. Holiday, Magaloco, and Patrol Officer Gavin Schoberl were suspended in connection with the probe. HR Director Andrew Patton, who authored the report and conducted the investigation, sanctioned the 8 officers for various penalties for sexual activity while on duty, sexual harassment, conduct unbecoming of an officer, and lying during the course of the investigation. It was further revealed that Hall and many of the male officers had shared lewd text messages and pornographic images of themselves. Pornography and offensive pictures in the workplace are forms of sexual harassment. These items are offensive, inappropriate, and can lead to a hostile work environment for other employees, the report said. So anyway, if anyone wants to abolish a local police department and you're a woman, here's an idea for you. So, there you go. I don't know what's going on with the choking here. Like, I really hope that that's like a sex thing. Because if it's not, then that's like the worst part of the story. Like, okay, cops were in a gangbang. Big whoop. Who cares? But like some guy was choking an HR employee. That's actually a pretty big deal. Once again, unless it was a consensual sex act. Which, given the context of the rest of this article, very well might be. And if so, well, I mean, hey, more power to him. Once again, big black dick right here. And I guess that's it. I guess we don't know anything else about any other genitals, which is unfortunate. But this is one hell of a story. Let me just tell you. So, there you go. Gives a whole new meaning to bootlicking, my friends. There you go. Oh. Got a show going on, folks. You got a program. A program! The cops episode of that story. God damn. So anyway, shout outs to the best cop ever. Oh, Christ almighty. All right, let's drink some of this coffee. You don't know how you feel with the new background with Joe Biden. Well, I figured, like, we're more than halfway through Biden's presidency. I might as well add him to the backdrop. It's, you know, I should have done that sooner, but hey, whatever. So anyway, I hope everyone's having a great time. I want to start this segment here by saying I recently did a survey in my show community. And this is an interactive program. I like to routinely check on what the viewers think of my output, what kind of stories I focus on, and all that stuff. And I did get a lot of support for a certain genre of video that I do, which is about food. Though, that said, there were a couple people that filled out the survey and said, "Can you please shut the fuck up about my diet?" And to those people, I hear you. I see you, but I do not give a fuck about you in any other way than trying to fix your diet. So I want to read this article from CNN Health, everybody. Here's how to eat to live longer, new study says. We're going to eat to live longer? Whoa. No one ever told me about that. You can reduce your risk of an early death for any reason by nearly 20%. Just by eating more foods from your choice of 4 healthy eating patterns, according to a new study. So I want to say this once again. My regular viewers already know this. 95% of Americans do not eat fruits and vegetables. They do not eat whole grain. They do not eat fiber. 95% of Americans are chronically malnourished. 95% of Americans are so fucking stupid that they can't eat vegetables. Think about this. Right? Think about cartoons, you know, and like television programs and sitcoms. Whenever like you have a kid character in these, you know, in these movies, right? Like what do? Right? Oh, the kid won't eat their broccoli. Oh, we got to do the airplane. Right? Does anyone remember the airplane? Well, apparently 95% of American adults are toddlers. They don't eat vegetables. What? What? 95% of Americans don't eat vegetables? I mean, I know a lot of people, when they become 18, 19, they go to college, you know, they're like, oh, fuck you, mom. Fuck you, dad. I'm eating ice cream for breakfast. But I mean, 40-year-olds, you're still eating ice cream for breakfast, bro? I mean, your parents are dead. You're not sticking it to the man anymore, motherfucker. People who carefully followed any of the healthy eating patterns, which all share a focus on consuming more whole grains, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and legumes, were also less likely to die from cancer, cardiovascular illness, and respiratory and neurodegenerative disease. For me, you ask me why I try to focus on eating healthy? I don't want dementia. That's why. I don't want to get that shit. That shit's fucking scary. That shit's fucking scary. Like, imagine you're walking around. All of a sudden, it's 1965. Whoa, it's the glory days, right? You know, you leave the house and then there's flying cars. What year is it? Oh, shit, it's 2073. I don't want that. I don't want to forget what time it is, what day it is, what year it is. I don't want to forget who my family members are. So you ask me why I focus on healthy eating? It's because I want people to remember my fucking show. That's why. Because if you all get demented and die, who the fuck's gonna remember my show? So anyway, the results of the study published Monday in the journal JAMA Internal Medicine show, quote, there is more than one way to eat well and derive the attendant health benefits, said Dr. David Katz, a lifestyle medicine specialist who was not involved in the study. People often get bored with one way of eating, study co-author Dr. Frank Hu said. So this is good news. It means we have a lot of flexibility in terms of creating our own healthy dietary patterns that can be tailored to individual food preferences, health conditions, and cultures. Quote, for example, if you are eating healthy Mediterranean and after a few months you want to try something different, you can switch to a DASH, dietary approaches to stop hypertension diet, or you can switch to a semi-vegetarian diet. What the fuck is semi-vegetarian? Said who? I don't know what that is. Or you can follow U.S. dietary guidelines and create your own healthy eating plate. Do not, under any circumstance, follow U.S. dietary guidelines. I'm just saying that. U.S. dietary guidelines is trash. U.S. dietary guidelines is bought and paid for by the food industry. Fuck that shit. So I don't know what's going on with this guy. A long-term study. The study followed the eating habits of 75,000 women participating in the Nurses' Health Study and 44,000 men in the Health Professionals Follow-Up Study over 36 years. None of the men and women had cardiovascular disease at the start of the study, and few were smokers. All filled out eating questionnaires every 4 years. Quote, this is one of the largest and longest running cohort studies to examine recommended dietary patterns and long-term risk of premature deaths and deaths from major diseases. Hu and his team scored participants on how closely they followed 4 healthy eating styles that are in sync with the current U.S. dietary guidelines. Now, once again, The U.S. dietary guidelines 20, 30 years ago said low fat was good for you. Does anyone remember that? Anyone who's older than me? Does anyone remember the low fat thing? Yeah, that was made up. Low fat was actually worse for you. Does anyone remember that? This is like a big thing in the 1980s and 90s. Low fat. The exact opposite of what you needed to do. They told you, eat low fat, high carbohydrate. That's what the government said. Why? Because the food industry, just like the tobacco industry, bought off politicians 30 years prior. The food industry bought off the politicians and lied. Cigarettes are actually healthy for you. It's crazy ass shit. Low fat's garbage. So again, definitely stay clear of the U.S. dietary guidelines. They're bought and paid for. Stick to the science. One is the Mediterranean diet, which stresses eating fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, legumes, fish, and high amounts of olive oil. Hey, I eat a lot of olive oil. A lot. Too much. I just drink it. I drink it by the gallon. I go glug, 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 glug. You know? Love that shit. This dietary pattern emphasizes healthy fats, especially monounsaturated fat, in addition to plant-based foods and moderate alcohol. Yeah, that's right. Wine is part of the Mediterranean diet, my friends. Oh, yes. Let's all have a glass of wine and then chase it down with a glass of olive oil. Am I right? The next is called the healthful plant-based diet, which also focuses on eating more plant products, but gives negative points for all animal products and any alcohol. Negative points. I love that. And also negative points for any alcohol. I think that's bullshit. I'm going to be honest. I think that's bullshit. Moderate drinking. Hey, there are some studies that say moderate drinking is actually better for you than not drinking at all. Now, I don't know how much of that is copium, right? So do your own research. But hey, I'm just saying, follow the science. And that means science is ever evolving. And that means you should be ever evolving your research. It even discourages relatively healthy options like fish or some dairy products, Hugh said, adding that the eating plan frowns on unhealthy plant-based foods such as potato products. Quote, so you can imagine that vegetarians are probably on the higher end of this diet score, he said. Hey, as a vegetarian, feels good to win. Haven't eaten meat multiple years now. And how do I look? Look pretty good. A lot of people say, oh, you don't eat meat? You're malnourished. Well, those people are fucking stupid. I'm looking pretty nourished. I look nourished and nourishing. So, hey. Cry about it. The Healthy Eating Index tracks whether people follow basic U.S. nutritional guidelines, which stress healthy plant-based foods, frown on red and processed meat, and discourage eating added sugar, unhealthy fats, and alcohol. Now, again, U.S. nutritional guidelines says that you can have 25 grams of added sugar in your daily diet. 25 grams of added sugar? What the fuck? What? Not 25 grams of sugar, which is also pretty bad, but 25 grams of added sugar. That's what the U.S. nutritional guideline says. That's fucking crazy. I'm sorry. That's fucking crazy. Added sugar is garbage. Added sugar is trash. And it's a drug. And it's worse for you and more addictive than alcohol. If you drink alcohol every day, people would say you're an alcoholic. If you eat sugar every day, which has the same metabolic process as alcohol, you just don't get high from it, or at least the high is not as good, people say, oh, you're following the U.S. nutritional guidelines. Everyday average American. That's crazy shit. So next time you want to judge someone for drinking every day, think about how much sugar you're eating. I'll tell you this much. I don't eat added sugar. I stopped a long time ago. Now every once in a while, something I'll try has like a little bit of it. But I usually steer very far away from added sugar. Why? Because added sugar is usually like high fructose corn syrup or some garbage. But you know what? I would consider myself a moderate drinker. I've been trying to curb that back a little bit. But if you were to ask me to choose alcohol or candy, alcohol or soda, alcohol or ice cream, alcohol or barbecue sauce, alcohol or whatever fucking garbage with added sugar, I'm going to choose alcohol. Why? Because at least I can fucking get high from that shit. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest with you. I'm just saying. That's my opinion. Why would you have sugar, which is like, wow, it's so sweet, and then it's over? You drink a fucking glass of wine, and you're like, woo! You're going to end up like the cops in that story I told about recently. Have some fun. Eat some sugar, and it's like, and then it's over. You drink a shot of whiskey, and you're like, woo! You know what I'm saying? You're about to have a good night. Read a fucking hardcover book by the fucking candlelight. You know what I mean? Have a great evening. Sugar fucking sucks. Sugar fucking sucks. Now, why do you like sugar? Because it's chemically addictive. I got a dog right here. I don't know if anyone can see this. Look at this. This is what I'm dealing with. This is my current situation. So and I'm not going to sit here and tell people to drink. If you can avoid alcohol in your life, probably a good thing. But what I am saying is, if you have sugar and alcohol, consider cutting back on the sugar and doubling up on the alcohol. That's what I'm saying, okay? Now, again, I'm not a doctor. You shouldn't drink or have sugar in your life. You don't need any of those. But what I'm saying is, it's worth considering because it all falls in the same category. Now, again, sugar does not destroy your brain as much as alcohol. That's one key difference. But still, my point here is that dietarily speaking, you don't need any sugar to live. You don't need any sugar to live. None. You can live 100 years without ever eating sugar. Why? Because your body makes sugar. Dummy. Your body creates sugar. Dummy. That's why you don't need it. If you avoid sugar, you're good to go. Because your body will be like, oh shit, I'm going to make some glucose, which is actually healthy for you. Dietary glucose, not really. But glucose, you need it to live. Fructose fucks you up. Sucrose fucks you up. I've been reading a lot about diet sweeteners as well. So avoid those. But if you're going to have a soda, my opinion, diet's better than nothing. But diet's better than sugar, but nothing is better than diet. Findings by disease. After each person's eating pattern was scored, the participants were divided into 5 groups or quintiles from highest to lowest adherence to one or more of the eating patterns. The highest quintile of diet, this is a quote, quality as compared to the lowest was associated with roughly 20% reduction in all-cause mortality. Said Katz, president of the study also found reductions in risk of death from certain chronic disease if people improve their diet over time. And I'm just going to tell you this much. It's not about dying. We got to stop talking about the world in these binaries. Either you're alive or you're dead. How about the quality of your life? How about that? Are we going to talk about life quality? Dying? Being alive? You can be alive, but be dead on the inside and wish you were dead. So, hey, I'm just saying, when you eat better, your life is better. You feel better. You think more sharply. You're more present. You're more aware of the world around you. So, hey, if I were to ask you a question, quantity or quality, which would you choose? But also, why? That's a fucked up question. Because you can have quality and quantity both at the same time. You can extend your lifespan, live longer, and live better and happier. So I'm just saying. Participants who improved the health of their diet by 25% could reduce their risk from dying from cardiovascular disease by a range of 6 to 13% and dying from cancer by 7 to 18%. He said there was a 7% reduction in risk of death by neurodegenerative diseases such as dementia. Quote, respiratory disease mortality reduction was actually much greater, reducing risk by 35 to 46%. Now this, respiratory disease mortality reduction was actually much greater, reducing risk from 35 to 46%. Respiratory disease, really? Let's think about this. What is a respiratory disease that's been going around? Well, I would say COVID, but it's not single-handedly a respiratory disease. It's more of a, vascular disease that can target and mostly targets the respiratory system because that's how it infects your body. But my point here is, when we have a pandemic and we have scientific evidence that shitty eating habits make you more susceptible to respiratory illnesses, and the pandemic mostly infects you via your respiratory system, you would think people like Anthony Fauci or Rochelle Walensky or Joe Biden or Ashish Jha would go around and say, hey, maybe you should fix your diet, right? Well, they won't even tell people to wear a mask, let alone deal with the elephant in the room, which is our diet. Our government is so afraid of crazy fascists that they won't even tell people to wear masks. Why and when did science get this politicized, where we can't even have a basic discussion on how to prevent a disease because what if a right-winger sees what I say? I can't tell people to eat legumes because then a right-winger might see what I say and that's bad for business. When did we get to this point where science has been politicized? Well, the answer is we've always been here. That's why the food industry told you that low fat was the way to go 30 years ago. That's why the tobacco industry told you the cigarettes were good for you 50 years ago. We've always been here. That's why fossil fuel companies will say, climate change, science has always been politicized. And that is why I think science is so valuable. Because science is apolitical. Science is liberatory. You can engage in the scientific method in your daily life and be free from the chains of oppression that capitalism tries to force you into. Just by seeing the world around you for what it really is instead of the propagandized version that you're sold via television. So anyway, you can read I guess that is the rest of it, but yeah, just eat better and you'll live longer and you'll be healthier. Now, I also want to say this. Let's get selfish. Let's get Machiavellian, right? Let's have a little fun with this subject. Don't you want after this pandemic is over, don't you want to be at an advantage? I'm just talking purely selfish, Machiavellian. These are the moments. Spend this time during this pandemic. And it's possible we'll be in the pandemic forever, right? Maybe. But think about it. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to have, your health is going to be at an all-time high. Your creative skills are going to be at an all-time high. Your logical thinking skills are going to be at an all-time high. Your brain is going to be processing information significantly at higher rates than the average COVID-addled, diseased, non-fiber eating, shitty diet eating motherfucker. So just think about it. If you have no other purpose or reason to eat healthy, and if you're a psychopath, a sociopath, think about it. Pure strategy. Don't you want to be better off when the clouds part and we get back to normal, whatever that means? So I'm just saying, I don't know, man. I don't know how else to convince people. But 95% of Americans are drug addicts? You don't see that on Fox News. Fox News loves to talk about fentanyl. Goddamn homeless people are drug addicts. The blacks and their crack. But what about the white people and their Skittles? What about the rich people and their gourmet candies? What about, you ever see those like fucking food videos of these like rich New York candy shops or whatever where you can get like that golden encrusted like pie or whatever? What about that kind of shit? What about kids and Fruit Loops? Any parents out there? If you give your kids breakfast cereal like Fruit Loops, you might as well skip the milk and pour in some beer, because at least the kid's going to enjoy their breakfast. Now, obviously, I'm not advocating to give kids alcohol. In the same way, I wouldn't advocate to give kids Fruit Loops. You give your kids orange juice. Orange juice is as bad for you as soda. But kids drink more of it because they're lied to and parents tell them it's healthy. I was lied to as a kid. My grandparents said, you got to drink orange juice every day. Why? It's healthy for you. Now, I don't know if they knew any better. They probably didn't. But juice, scientifically speaking, is as unhealthy as soda. And kids drink more of it because they're told it's actually good for you. If you were told that Coca-Cola was super healthy and you tried Coca-Cola and you're like, yo, this is awesome. You're telling me this is healthy? You'd be drinking that shit every day. That's juice. So anyway, a lot of people do whine about my food segments. I say, I don't know, man. Maybe don't watch them. I don't know. But I'm not going to stop telling the truth just because you get upset about it. So, though I do appreciate, I would prefer if people did tell me if they didn't like these segments. I want to know what percentage of my audience likes what and doesn't like what. That's valuable information. But anyway, there you go. Speaking of powdered drugs, I recently have been getting into habanero powder. Like instead of chili powder, it's just actually spicy. I tried that shit last night. Dumped it on some pasta. Fuck. Speaking of powdered drugs, my friends. That right there. Do you have a gas stove? Now, I'll tell y'all. I do. Well, guess what? Finally, the government is going to do something good. Or maybe they'll back out at the last minute. A U.S. federal agency is considering a ban on gas stoves. This would be an amazing move. This would be a brilliant move. This would be a great move. And it should happen sooner than later. Gas stoves are a thing of the past. They're garbage. Now, again, a lot of people, they like gas stoves because it heats up faster. But there's new kinds of electric stoves that heat up even faster than fire does. So I'm just throwing that out there. A federal agency is considering a ban on gas stoves, a source of indoor pollution linked to childhood asthma. In an interview with Bloomberg, a U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commissioner said gas stove usage is a hidden hazard. If you have a gas stove, which I do, I recommend opening the window every time you cook, even in the wintertime. Hey, I do it. Put on a jacket, open up the window. Trust me. Any option is on the table. Products that can't be made safe can be banned. Agency Commissioner Richard Trumka Jr. told Bloomberg. The report said the agency plans to take action to address the indoor pollution caused by stoves. Now, I will say the only proper way to do this is with a government buyback and replace program. That's the only way to do it. Buy back from the government, and then they give you an adequate replacement. The CPSC has been considering action on gas stoves for months. Trumka recommended in October that the CPSC seek public comment on the hazards associated with gas stoves. The pollutants have been linked to asthma and worsening respiratory conditions. Once again, there's a pandemic going on. And what are these diseases that we're talking about in the triple-demic target? Your respiratory system. A December 22 study in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health found that indoor gas stove usage is associated with an increased risk of current asthma among children. The study also found that 13% of current childhood asthma in the U.S. is attributable to gas stove use. Trumka told Bloomberg that agency plans to open public comments on gas stove hazards. Option besides a ban includes setting standards on emissions from the appliances. 35% of households in the United States use a gas stove, and the number approaches 70% in some states like California and New Jersey. You would think that California would not have that kind of gas stove, usage, you'd think, right? Because, it's California, but hey. Other studies have found that these stoves emit significant levels of nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and fine particulate matter, which without proper ventilation can raise the levels of indoor concentration levels to unsafe levels as deemed by the EPA. So once again, my opinion, if you have a gas stove, which I do, open your window every time you cook. It should just be a habit. Open the window, turn the fan on, cook your shit, leave the window open a little longer. Short-term exposure to NO2 is linked to worsening asthma in children, and long-term exposure has been determined to likely cause the development of asthma, a group of lawmakers said in a letter to Chair Alexander Hohn-Sarek, adding that it can also exacerbate cardiovascular illness. The letter, Senator Cory Booker and Senator Elizabeth Warren among its signers, argued that Black, Latino, and low-income households are more likely to be affected by these adverse reactions because they are either more likely to live near a waste incinerator or coal ash site or in a home with poor ventilation. Ventilation in apartments is a big deal. A lot of times, apartment layouts don't have windows near the kitchen. I've been to multiple apartments that don't have windows at the kitchen at all. If you don't have a kitchen window and you have a gas stove, get some fans. Open up the window wherever it is closest. Get some fans and just point them in the direction of the window. I don't know. That's the best thing I can think of. But maybe look into better solutions as well. Quote, agency staff plans to start gathering data and perspective from the public on potential hazards associated with gas stoves and propose solution to those hazards later this year. The commission said in a statement, commission staff also continues to work with voluntary standards organizations to examine gas stove emissions and address potential hazards. Some cities across the U.S. ban natural gas hookups in all new building construction to reduce greenhouse emissions. Berkeley in 2019, San Francisco in 20, New York City in 21. But as of last February, 20 states with GOP-controlled legislatures have passed so-called preemption laws that prohibit cities from banning natural gas because Republicans have your best interest in mind. So anyway, you can read the rest of this. Quote, a ban on gas cooking appliances will remove an affordable and preferred technology used in more than 40% of homes across the country. Industry spokesperson said in a statement, a ban on gas cooking would fail to address the overall concern of indoor air quality while cooking, blah, blah, blah. Industry spokesperson. So, in other words, ignore what this fucking bitch has to say. But anyway, you know, obviously, if the government just banned gas stoves and that was it, didn't do any tax credits if you get an electric stove, didn't do a buyback program, that would be horrible. The government, what they should do, buy back all gas stoves, 100% of them, from every dwelling in the country, and provide a free replacement that is a high quality replacement. But the government won't do that. So what's going to happen? I'm not sure. But either way, I'm in favor of a ban on gas stoves. That's my opinion. Ban the shit out of that shit. Fuck them. Ugh. Anyway, we've got a show going on here. A program. What if I told you the Democratic politicians in blue states, New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts. What if I told you the Democratic politicians banned water parks? What if I told you the Democratic politicians banned the beach? You're not allowed to go to the beach. You would say, that's crazy. That's crazy. And you would rightfully say that. But what if I told you Republican politicians banned drag shows? Is that crazy? Well, it's about the kids, right? The kids got to be safe, right? Now, I don't know about you all, but I remember being born and raised in New Jersey. I'd go to the beach. My parent would drag me to the beach. And you know what I would see at the beach? I'm talking 6 years old, 7 years old. At the beach. I was seeing titties, fat jiggly butts, people with cock bulges, six-pack abs. I should have never been exposed to that. I was groomed by going to the beach as a kid, right? Well, anyway, here's what we're talking about. Arkansas bill classifies drag show as adult-oriented business, adds location restrictions. Drag shows are an adult-oriented business? Dressing up in fancy costumes is an adult-oriented business? But going to a pool where bikinis are allowed is not? That's child-friendly? Let's show all the 5- and 6-year-olds the fat, jiggly asses walking around, the wet, juicy butts at the beach, at the pool. That's fine. But a drag show? Can't do it. Why? Because it's a drag show. I don't think Republicans even know what drag is. I'm going to be honest with you. The idea that anyone thinks drag shows directly relate to being naked, do they know what drag is? Drag is literally defined as dressing up. You put on more clothes. Now, are there drag shows that get a little sexual? Sure. Are there nude beaches? Yeah. And kids shouldn't be allowed there. No problem. But the idea that all beaches, water parks, pools, drag shows should be banned because a kid might see someone with big ass titties, a little silly. But Republicans don't care about freedom. They don't care about kids being exposed to sexual things. They only care about attacking queer people. That's it. That's it. That's all they care about. It's not about the kids. Oh no, the kids. It's not about that. A bill filed Monday in the Arkansas Senate would define a drag performance as an adult-oriented business and place restrictions on where they could take place. Senate Bill 43, sponsored by Arkansas Senator Gary adds drag performance to the list of adult-oriented business in the Arkansas Code, which includes adult cabarets, adult theaters, and nude model studios. Really? 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 Drag shows are the same as a nude model studio? Once again, if you think drag shows are too much for kids, then surely you want to ban the internet, right? I read a poll not too long ago that said about half of kids at age 12 have already been exposed to hardcore pornography because of unrestricted internet access. So, do Republicans want to ban the internet? Once again, should kids be allowed to go to the boardwalk? Hey, what about these states that get really hot, like Florida? It gets pretty hot in Florida. Sometimes people will walk around in pretty scantily clad clothing in Florida because it's so damn hot. I say this. Kids should not be allowed outside in the summertime. They might see someone showing their whole legs. You know, you ever see these things? They're called booty shorts. Y'all familiar with this? I remember being a kid going outside in the summertime, being exposed to booty shorts. My young mind collapsed instantly into mush. I was unable to function. Why was I allowed by the state to be exposed to that? I should have been mandatorily locked down during the summertime. Right? The bill goes on to define a drag performance as something where a performer, quote, exhibits a gender identity that is different from the performer's gender assigned at birth using clothing, makeup, or other accessories that are traditionally worn. Now, again, these words don't mean anything. Traditionally, assigned, identity, different, performance. None of that means anything. Worn by members of and are meant to exaggerate the gender identity of the performer's opposite sex. So I have a question. If a woman is wearing a hoodie that their boyfriend gave them, is that drag? I remember being a youngster, walking around outside, seeing women wearing oversized male clothing. Why is that? Well, presumably, they didn't have any clothes on, and they needed to put something on, but why should they be allowed outside? Women walking around, not wearing dresses? Why are women allowed to wear pants? I ask you this question. Pants. Why are women allowed to wear pants? They should be forced to wear long, all the way down to the ankles, dress skirts. Otherwise, oh shit, kids might see their legs, right? And also, isn't it gender non-conforming for women to wear pants? If I go to a theater and one of the characters is a woman who wears pants, am I allowed to report that theater? Webster's New Word College Dictionary defines prurient as, quote, having or expressing lustful ideas or desires. Right, I missed one. The performer would be someone before an audience of two or more and is, quote, intended to appeal to the prurient interests. Lustful ideas or desires. Tending to excite lust. I have a question. Skinny jeans. And I'm not talking about women wearing skinny jeans. I'm talking about the boys. Y'all ever go outside and you see some guy wearing skinny jeans and you see something going on in their skinny jeans? We've all been there. Well, maybe you haven't. I don't know. I'm just telling you this time. I've seen it. I've seen people hide something. Well, they're not hiding it too well, but they're hiding something in those skinny jeans. I'm talking about bulges, folks. I'm talking about big fat cock. Should skinny jeans be banned? Is that necessarily lustful or lewd? Maybe. I don't know. These people are insane, dude. I'm telling you, these people are insane. They're insane. And there's a chance that this will pass because Arkansas is a right-wing hell state. I'm just asking, does anyone actually believe this stuff? Does anyone actually want to ban kids from going to the beach because they might be able to see big fat titties jiggling around? Because if you're against drag shows, you have to be against the beach. You have to. Otherwise, you're a hypocrite. But again, it's not about hypocrisy. It's not about protecting kids. It's about hurting queer people. That's it. That's it. That's the only point. That is not just a side effect and there's a grander point. No, that is the one and only exclusive purpose of this kind of legislation. The bill also states that no adult-oriented business may be located on public property or where a minor can view it. Once again, are minors allowed to go to the pool? If the answer is yes, then drag shows are perfectly fine. I mean, come on. Come on! Come on! I have a question for you. You're watching this video, if you're in the live stream chat, whatever, leave a comment. When was the first time that you saw cleavage Oh, you know, cleavage. You know, the good stuff. When's the first time you saw cleavage? Can you think about it? For me, probably the beach when I was like 4 or 5 years old. So, I don't know. I'm just saying, right? The idea that drag shows are uniquely adult-oriented, but not the beach, or a water park, or just a regular hot summer day in the South? I mean, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. And this is why I cover this stuff, is I want you to know it's not about the kids. These people don't care about the kids. They don't care about the child safety. They don't care about any of that shit. It's all a smokescreen. It's all a tactic to confuse you. If you think for a second that Republicans give a fuck about kids being exposed to sexual stuff, then you're a useful fucking dumbass. Because they don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about your kid. The only thing they want to do is criminalize being queer. That's it. They want to criminalize being queer. That's it. End of. There's nothing else. And if you think there's anything else to it, if you think there's a second layer, you are a useful fucking dumbass. So anyway, there you go. Pretty cool. Shout outs to Republicans. They love freedom, don't they? WKRP in Cincinnati. I don't know what that is. A defined set of what's okay and what's not okay when it comes to children and drag shows. Everything's okay. Sci-fi. If you think drag shows are inherently sexual, you're a dumbass. I'm sorry. You're just a fucking moron. There's no need to define anything. Drag shows are fine. You don't need to define anything. You don't need to get into nitty-gritty. Drag shows are perfectly acceptable. Now again, are there adult theaters where naked people are doing crazy shit? Yeah. Do some of them involve dressing up in certain ways? Yeah. That is not the norm. The idea of equating drag with inherently sexual is not a thing. Drag is not inherently sexual. Not even close. Now again, are there sexual drag shows? Absolutely. That's the minority. Very little are actually that. And when they are, they're very clearly stated and kids aren't going there anyway. The idea that a kid is going to a sexualized drag show is impossible. Why? Because these often happen at bars and kids aren't let into bars. There's bouncers and say, hey, why are you bringing a 5-year-old into the bar? That doesn't happen. In the same way that kids don't go to strip clubs. Why? Because it doesn't fucking happen? I'm sorry, sci-fi, but I'm not going to listen to what you think is very, very sexual. I think that whatever your opinion is on the subject is not relevant to the facts of the matter. And if you think that people wearing women's clothing is inherently sexual, then the beach and the pool, summer and water parks also should be banned under the same logic. I don't know what to tell you. It's a bunch of stupid ass garbage. There's multiple different kinds of programs that are tailored to different audiences. An adult program is going to be advertised, marketed, and exclusive to adults. In the same way that a kids program is going to be marketed toward kids. It's not hard. It's not like this is a problem. This isn't a problem. There is no problem. Republicans created a problem out of nothing, and you're falling for it. It's just that simple. There's no secret conspiracy. There's no, well, there must be something. There is nothing. There doesn't have to be something. When a Republican says anything at all, there doesn't have to be a real kernel of truth. It's possible that they can just lie. And so once again, I ask everyone this question. When's the first time you saw cleavage? Because if your answer is anything older than 5 or 6, you're lying. You're lying. Maybe if you were born and raised in Alaska or some shit, maybe. But if you're in the contiguous United States and you say, oh, I never saw cleavage until I was 18 years old, you're a liar. You're lying. I never saw cleavage until I was 15. You're a liar. You're lying. Everyone in this country is exposed to sexual things at some point or another throughout their childhood. Now again, I'm not advocating to ban cleavage. I'm advocating to ban stupid motherfuckers from being in the government. People overreact to this stupid fucking garbage, man. Why doesn't anyone talk about the strip club epidemic? Pandemic. There's strip clubs in every city in America. What if a kid got in? What if a kid got into the strip club? What are we going to do? I guess we have to shut them all down, right? Because a kid might go in there. Right? Right? Wrong. Dumbass shit. But anyway, that's my show for today. That's all the news I had lined up for today. Sci-fi. This is your last warning before I hit the ban button. There is nothing inherently sexual about drag. There is nothing inherently sexual about drag. Drag queen story time is not a sexual fucking performance, you dumbass. Nice sweater. I'm not wearing a sweater. This is like some thermal undershirt, and I'm not wearing an overshirt. So all right, sci-fi, whatever. Donald James. Drag shows are not inherently sexual. There are sexual drag shows, absolutely. There are sexualized drag shows, absolutely. That does not mean that drag is inherently sexual. Drag is literally just men dressing up as women. That's what it is. I just dropped something on the floor. That's it. If you think that that's inherently sexual, I don't know. Anything that's going to be remotely adult-oriented is going to be marketed that way. Adults don't want to have fucking kids come around and fuck up their good time. If I'm going to a strip club, I don't want to have a 5-year-old there to fuck up my good time. If you are discussing whether or not kids should be at a sexual drag show, it is as fucking stupid and ridiculous as discussing whether or not kids should be at a strip club. Because they're not there already, and it's a waste of fucking time to talk about it. It's dumb shit. It's dumb shit. Imagine if Democratic politicians made a bunch of legislation. We got to ban strip clubs because kids might waltz in. Who knows? I don't know what to say. I don't know. It's just some dumbass shit. So I don't mean to yell at people, but sometimes I gotta put my foot in your mouth. if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's the show. I mean, every now and then I gotta fucking yell at people. It's just, you know, it's catharsis. But anyway, yeah. I don't know what else to talk about, so that's pretty much it. Are we getting more news? No, we're not getting more news, motherfucker. Motherfucker! Ah! 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 There's no more news? I got nothing. And even if I had something, which I don't, I wouldn't share. Because it's mine. Have I been watching movies? Yeah. I'm taking a break. Q-cock? It's always Q-cock. I'm taking a break from talking about movies for a little bit. But I'll get back into it. I think people like you yelling at them, TBH. I hope they do. Because I'll yell at any motherfucker that needs it. Ah! Ah! Raising Arizona's on my list for sure. Yeah, I don't know what to talk about. Has anyone seen that shit? Look at this. It's a goddamn Max dog. Goddamn Wogan. August Underground. I've never heard of it. Any extra going on with Max? Well, he's a goddamn shark dog right now. Maxie, get on the camera. Maxie, what the fuck? You're out of the frame. Yeah, he's coming. How many people filled out the survey? Oh, here he is. Let's look. The survey is closed. I mean, you can still fill it out, but I'm going to look at it one more time after this show, and then it's over. We got 49 responses. I should review Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Well, good thing I already did. You can look it up on my channel. 49 responses. Anyway, y'all, thank you all for watching the program. That's pretty much all I got for today, so I will see you all tomorrow. Unless you view me on another, you know, point in time, I might be doing a Twitch stream. It's possible. I don't know. Any idea how long it was? I mean, you can just go to my channel and search Fear and Loathing, and you will find it. So the length of time since then is kind of irrelevant. Just search Fear and Loathing in that order. But anyway, That's all I got. That's all I got. It doesn't come up? Well, I don't know what to tell you, because it comes up for me. So, like if I go on my channel right now, click the search button. Where is the search button? Did they move this shit? Yeah, here it is. Yeah, it's the first result. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, that's all I got. I got.